Hello friends, I am Lakshmikant. Hope you all are fine, my dear. Dear, here I am going to start Unit 8 of Class 12th, my dear. Class 12th, and this one is the Unit 8 and Chapter number 8, my dear. That is Chapter number 9, Strategy for Enhancement in Food Production. Correct? So, strategy for enhancement in food production. Here, the thing that is very important to understand that what we should have to be a start right now. Okay, so in this chapter we have to be start from the what the breedings, how we keep the animals, what the tissue cultures, single cell proteins, and plant what the plants response breeding for diseases, and the varieties of what resistance, my dear. In this chapter we should have to be studying. So let me start from this one thing. The first thing that is very important to understand about this one is what tissue culture, my dear. Hope so. If anybody can ask you about the term tissue culture, then what you say? See, if I'm saying here the term this tissue culture, then what you mean by tissue culture, my dear? Let's see here. I'm going to write here the term that is what tissue culture. Let's see this one, tissue culture, my dear. See, if I'm saying about this one term tissue culture, it means that this is the method that is used to recover healthy plants from diseased plant, my dear. I'm going to repeat here. It means that whenever I'm saying about this tissue cultures will be occurred or done by in two methods. That is, one is what meristem culture, and second one is what somatic hybridization. See what I'm saying here. I'm saying here that whenever I'm saying to you about the tissue culture, then here the two way we have to be proceed in this tissue culture. That is, first one is that is what meristem culture, and second one is what somatic hybridization. So first of all, see what do you mean by the tissue culture in a meristem culture, my dear. You know that in this very method we use to recover what healthy plants from diseased plant. How it is possible, sir? Is it possible to discover healthy plants from diseased plant? Yes, definitely. But how the process is be occurred or to performed here to be find out the diseased plant from a healthy plants, my dear. Let's see here. The first thing that it is important to understand that the growing parts of the plant, that is what meristems, my dear. What I'm saying here, meristem, and the meristem is the what growing region of the plant. Suppose, see this one, imagine this one is the plant, and this plant having the two regions. One is the region that is a meristematic region. The meristematic region, it means that the region in which what the plants is what dividing region. It means that it the region where the plant can divide continuously, and after that if the plant grow continuously, then at that time it the division of the cell goes continuously, my dear, right? And once the plant become matured, then the time came the plant doesn't be what grow, my dear. That tissue is known as what permanent tissue, right? So see here the two one of the tissue, one is the what meristematic tissue, that is called what dividing tissue, and second one is what called permanent tissue. The permanent tissue, it means what, you know, the permanent tissue, it means that the tissue which cannot be further divided. Getting? So here what I'm saying here that in a meristematic tissue, the method to recover a healthy plants from diseased plant, my dear. Okay, now see, if I'm saying here the meristem, it means that I'm saying to about what apical and axillary. See, I'm going to tell you with the help of diagram, my dear. See, suppose this one I am making a what apical meristem. See, also in the tissue chapter, my dear, in a plant tissue we study there, this one is the tissue. See, this one is the apical region, my dear. So this one is what apical meristem. This one is what apical meristem I'm writing. Clear? So see, in apical meristem, that the region where the plant continuously grow, my dear, right? Number one. Second thing that is here is what intercalary meristem. See what I'm writing here? Here I'm writing what intercalary meristem, and this one the region which is responsible for the growth in lateral parts, that is lateral meristem. That is what lateral meristem, my dear. Correct? Lateral meristem. So see, in a meristematic tissue there are three regions is here. One is what apical, second one is intercalary, and third one is what? Lateral meristem, my dear. Now, if anybody can ask you that which one is the region is apical, you know the apex region of the stem as well as the apex region of root also. Again, I'm repeating here. If anybody can ask you which one is the region of what apical meristem, then what you say there? You say that the apical region, it means that the apical region of the stem as well as the apical region of the roots, both are the apical meristem, right? So the meristem is the only virus free part. What I'm saying? So see, this one is the reason, this one is the reason which is what? Free from virus. Free from what? Virus. Why I'm saying here that this one free from virus, you know? Because, my dear, this one is the reason where the continuously grow region area. So meristem, apical or axillary region is the only virus free part of a virus infected plants. Now see example, which one example is here, my dear? You know, that is my dear what example? That is what? Banana, the banana plant. Getting? Sugarcane plant. What I'm saying to you? Sugarcane plant, my dear. I'm saying to you what? Potato, etc, etc. These all are plants what the meristem is the only virus free plant. Getting my point? Getting my point? Now the next thing that is very important to understand here, that sir, meristem culture is clear. Wait for a moment. What I'm going to write here, I'm going to write here this one, meristem. Wait for a moment. This one, meristem culture is clear. Now what the somatic hybridization? You know the term hybridization? You know the term hybrid first, then after you understand the hybridization. See, hybridization is nothing, it is a simple technique, or you say the process in which we get a desired plant from crossing over with desired to undesired plant. Again, I'm repeating, hybridization is a technique in which we get a desired plant. How we get desired plant? We can get desired plant by crossing over one of the desired two with the another undesired plants. See, the process of fusion of protoplast. Again, you are not getting that. What do you mean by protoplast? You know the first protoplasm, my dear? No. Let's see. If anybody can ask you about the protoplasm, here I'm going to write, then after you understand the term protoplasm also. If anybody can ask you about this one term first, protoplasm, then what you say there? What you say there? You say that's a protoplasm, that is a living constituent part of cell. Getting what I'm saying? What is protoplasm? It is a living constituent part of cell. So if I'm saying here that the living constituent part of cell, it means what? It means that cytoplasm, what I'm saying, my dear, cytoplasm along with the what? Nucleus. Along with the what? Nucleus, my dear. So see, if I'm saying here the cytoplasm along with the nucleus, then it is termed as what? Protoplasm, my dear. So now what do we mean by protoplast? Now the thing is that is very important to understand here. See, if I'm saying here the term protoplast, it means that basically in a plant cell, what I'm saying to you, in a plant cell, if I'm saying here that the protoplast, it means that what? Removal of the what? Cell membrane. So if we remove the cell membrane, only left there what? Cell wall. Getting my point? So cell membrane is the living constituent part of the cell. Yes, definitely. And cell wall is the non-living constituent part of the cell. So once the cell membrane is removed from the what? The plant cell, then it is known as what? Protoplast. See what I'm writing here. I'm going to write here what? Removal of, wait for a moment, removal of what? Removal of what, my dear? Cell membrane. Cell membrane, or you say the plasma membrane, or you say the selective permeable membrane. So when we remove the cell membrane from the plant cell, then only left there what? Cell wall. So if we remove the cell membrane and only left their cell wall, then it is known as what? Protoplast, my dear. See, again, the process of fusion of protoplast. I'm going to repeat here what I'm saying. The process of fusion of protoplast of a different varieties on a suitable nutrient medium, my dear. The medium is required is what? Suitable nutrient medium. So what the suitable nutrient medium is required for the fusion of protoplast, my dear? You know that medium where they get all the all the essential nutrients which is for the responsible to growth in plants, my dear. See, vitro development, vitro to develop somatic hybrid. You know the meaning of somatic hybrid? Somatic hybrid, it means that the body cells hybrid. If the body cells weight only goes to develop, then it is known as what? Somatic hybrid, my dear. See example of what? Tomato. You know how the tomato will form? Yes, a tomato will form by the combination of tomato with potato. Again, I'm repeating. When I'm saying here the tomato, it means what? This combination of tomato along with what? The potato, then we get what? Tomato. So, tomato protoplast and potato protoplast, when we fuse with each other, then we get what? Protoplast of what? Tomato, my dear. So, this one is the combination, this one is the hybridization, and this one is the technique in which we get the desired plants from crossing over each other, my dear. Okay. Hope so this thing is clear. So if this thing is clear, you can also give me answer in comment also that everything is clear or not. Now the basic thing, that is what, after knowing about this tissue culture, my dear, so basic thing is here that what do you mean by single cell protein? See, if I'm saying here that the protein, it means that the layer is mainly made up of, there is what, cell membrane, or you say the plasma membrane, because we also have a cell membrane, and that cell membrane is made up of what? Lipoprotein. If I'm saying in the lipoprotein, it means that lipid, that is a fat along with the protein also. Getting my point? So in a plant cell, there are extra covering, that is what? Cell wall, and cell wall is made up of what? Cellulose here, and basically the cellulose is what? A fiber. Getting see, if I'm saying as a single cell protein, it means that you might be hear the name of a spirulina. No, see, if I'm saying here that the spirulina, that is used for SCP, yani single cell protein. So now if anybody can ask you which one thing is used in a single cell protein, then you say here what? Then you say here what? Spirulina, my dear. What I'm saying? Spirulina. Getting is used for SCP so as to provide alternate source of nutrition. So if any substances required alternate source of nutrition, then in that time we provide what? Spirulina, my dear, right? And it is a rich in protein, minerals, fat, carbohydrate, and vitamins, my dear. Getting? So this one is very important to understand here that which one is used for single cell protein. Then you say what? Spirulina. Getting? So this one thing is clear, this one thing is clear, and this one thing is also clear. Now, see, if I'm saying here that you just give me some the example of hybrid maize, wheat variety, Atlas 66, and iron fortified rice. What is saying? Iron fortified rice, my dear. Then what you say? Then you say at that time, sir, there are some examples which have their objectives as well as the word biofortification. See what I'm saying? Biofortification. So in a plant breeding, there are various steps of breeding of plants. There are also some reasons for why we plant breedings. There are for diseases resistance varieties, my dears. Getting? So see, and some the objective also is be here. Let's see first the what the steps of plant breeding. This one is important first to understand here. What do you mean by the plant breeding, my dear? If anybody can ask you about this term plant breeding, then you say what? Sir, it means that the process in which we breed the plants. Now, what the steps of breeding plants, my dear? The first one thing that is important to understand, that is what? Collection of genetic variability. So first of all, we should have to be collect the what? Different type of the gene of the plants. Okay, and then after second thing that is important to what? Evaluation of germ plasm. What I'm saying here? Germ plasm. Which one germ plasm is better? And selection of the parents also. Which one parent is better? And third one is what? Cross hybridization. After we collecting all the germ plasm, selection of the parents, then after what? We cross hybridization. And when we cross this hybridization among the selected parents, then what? Selection of superior hybrids. Which one is the superior hybrids we should have to be collected, and then afterward testing and release a commercialization of the new cultivators, my dear. So these all are the various steps we should have to be know one by one. But when we go these all one by one, when I'm discuss in detail video of this one chapter, then I will tell you about these all things in details. Okay, but here in the only mind map, so I'm giving you only the concept that what the thing is to be here. Okay, see, now see, There are some reasons. You know what the reasons for the what plant breedings, my dear? You know that the reason is what for resistance of what diseases. So if I'm saying here that the resistance of what diseases, so now the thing is that is important to know here that sir, why why it is necessary, because we all know that there are conventional breeding technique, you know, conventional breeding technique. So this one conventional breeding technique which is responsible for the what resistance of the varieties getting, and second one is what mutation breeding. What I'm saying, mutation breeding, you know the term mutation. Let's see, if anybody can ask you mutation, then you say there is what sudden change in a gene. What I'm saying here, the term mutation means what sudden sudden change in what sorry, sudden change in a gene, my dear. So if anybody can ask you about the mutation, then you say there is what sudden change in a gene. It means that here, once the gene will change, then the characters, whatever the characters developed in their particular plants, or you say the in animals, there is some changes in their what gene also. So gene is responsible to carry the inherited traits from parents to progeny, my dear. Now see, if anybody can ask you about the objectives of this plant breeding, then what you see first, number one, to improve protein content and quality. Number one, what the objective is here, what the objective is here, the first objective is to what, to improve protein content and quality, number one. Second, that is what, to improve oil content and quality, my dear, oil content and quality. And third one, to improve vitamin content, my dear. And fourth one is what, to improve micronutrient and mineral content, my dear. Getting so if anybody can ask you what the objective of this plant breeding, then what you say, there the first thing, that is to improve the protein content and quality, right? Second thing is what, to improve oil content and quality. Third one is to what, to improve vitamin content. And fourth one is what, my dear, to improve the micronutrient. What I'm saying to you, micronutrient and mineral content, my dear. So this one is important to understand here, because this one is very important, my dear. Okay, so for the board exam, the students who give board, this one is very important to know here, that if anybody can ask you about the objective of this plant breeding, then you say there. Okay, now see, here, for the development resistance to pest, here for the development resistance of what, my dear, pest, then you say here, the name of the crops, here the varieties and insect pest, my dear. Let's see, if I'm saying here the brassica, the name of the crop is what, brassica, that is a rapeseed mustard, you say. Here the variety is what, pusha gaurav, this one is the variety. And which one insect is what harm this one crop? The name of insect is what, aphids. What I'm saying, aphids is what, insecticides which harm the crops. Basically the variety of this one crop, that is brassica, the variety is pusa and gaurav. And second, that is what, a flat bean. What I'm saying, flat bean. This flat bean, there is varieties what, pusha same 2 and pusa same 3. This one is the variety of flat bean. And you know that the insect pest, that is jasid, aphids and fruit borer, these all are the insect pests. And if I'm saying that okara, that is bhindi, okara, that is what in Hindi say what, bhindi. Here the pusa savani and pusa a4, this one is the variety, my dear. And this one is harmed by the insect pest, you know, shoot and fruit borer. Shoot and what, fruit borer, my dear. So this one is the what, insect pest. Okay, so here the biofortification is clear. For the disease resistant variety is also clear. Now when we go through in animal husbandry, it means that we are just keeping some animals for farm and farm animals. We all know that we also keep some fishes in a fisheries. We also keep some bees, that is called beekeeping. We also breed some animal, that is called animal breeding, right? So these all are beneficial to all of us. So that's why. So if anyone can ask you why the farms and farm animals we occur for the dairy farm management and the poultry farm management. Getting in a fisheries, freshwater fishes. You know the example of freshwater fishes. You know that there are two types of aquatic water. One is what freshwater. Second one is what marine water. When I'm saying the marine water, so the water which is found in sea is called marine water. When I'm saying the fresh water, so water which is found in the rivers, sea, ponds, lakes, not sea, rivers, ponds, lakes, streams, these all water is known as what fresh water. So if I'm saying here that tell me some examples, tell me some instances of freshwater fishes, then what you say? You say the katla, rohu, common carp. These all are the example of freshwater fishes. But if anybody can ask you about the tell me some instances of marine fishes, then you say what? Hilsa, sardines, mackerel. These all are the example of what marine fishes, my dear. Right? Clear? Now, we also keep bee. That is, you know that the practice in which we what growing or rearing of bee is known as apiculture. You know the apiculture. You also know the term pisciculture, rearing of the fish in a larger scale, known as what pisciculture. If rearing the bee, we known as what apiculture. So see, practices of bee keeping for honey. Let's see why we practices bee. What the main purpose for practicing bee? You know the practice of the beekeeping for honey, and what bee wax. The two important things we get from bees. So that's why we keep bee. Yes or no? And you know the Apis indica. That is the scientific name of bees. Is the most common species. Yes. If anybody can ask you that, if anybody can ask you what is the main, what is the most common species in bee, my dear, then what you say? Apis indica, you say there. What you say? Apis indica is the most common species used, my dear, during beekeeping. Okay. So now, next thing that is important to understand here that in animal breeding, that is interbreeding, outbreeding, and controlled breeding techniques. See, here the three techniques, my dear. One is what? Interbreeding. Second one is what? Outbreeding. So in outbreeding, there are three ways. Number one is outcrossing, crossbreeding, and interspecific hybridization. Wait, I know that you eager to know that what these all things. Yes, I know that you are eager to know how these all things to be occurred, sir. How this one thing is to be way that be occurred in animals or in plants. Let's see. First, you know the interbreeding. You know the term interbreeding? No. See, if anybody can ask you the term interbreeding, then you say here matting of more closely related individual. See what I'm saying here. Listen carefully. Matting of more closely related individual within the same breed for 4 to 6 generation. How much generation? 4 to 6 generation. Again, I'm repeating here. Matting of more closely related individual. And again, you confuse the term individual. See, the group of cell to form what tissue? Yes, sir. Tissue group to form what? Organ. Then after what? Organ system. Then after what? Organism. And this organism group together, then it form what, my dear? Individual. So I'm what here? Individual. You also are what? Individual. And this group of this individual is known as what? Population. And this population group together to form what? Community. And this group of community together to form what, my dear? Ecosystem. And this group of ecosystem together known as what, my dear? You know, that is what? Biosphere, my dear. Getting? So see, matting of more closely related individual. What I'm saying here, matting of more closely related individuals with in the same breed for 4 to 6 generation, my dear, then it is known as what? Interbreeding. Getting and this continued interbreeding leads to what? Inbreeding depression. So if I'm saying here that inbreeding depression, it means that the quality of that very animals goes reduce, my dear. Yes, this one is the thing. So now see, outbreeding, here the term outcrossing, crossbreeding, interspecific hybridization, my dear. Getting? So when we go in a detailed video, then I will tell you about this one, outcrossing, crossbreeding, interspecific hybridization. Okay. Control breeding technique. There is some also the method to control breeding techniques. Yes, that is artificial insemination. You know the term insemination because in human reproduction the term is there insemination, you know. Sir. Insemination. Insemination. It means that the transfer of gametes. What I'm saying? Transfer of gametes from the what from with the transfer of gametes from the male to the female genital tract, my dear. That it is known as what? Insemination. So what the technique is here to control the bleeding? Yes, the technique is here. That is what? Artificial insemination, my dear. And second one is what? Moet, M-O-E-T. So these all are the things that we have to be study in this one chapter, my dear. Let's see from NCERT also that what the thing is to be written here. Okay. So now see to NCERT also. Let's check here. See what I'm saying to you. Here, this one is the chapter number 9 of NCERT class 12, unit 8, my dear, right? Wait for a moment. Let's see. Let's see this one thing. Yeah, that this one is the strategy for food enhancement. See what I'm saying here, the strategy for the enhancement in the food production. So when I'm saying here the enhancement in food production, my dear, the first the NCERT start from the animal husbandry. Okay, no problem. Where we have to be start here the same things that is very important. You know that the biological principles. What I'm saying, the biological principles as applied to animal husbandry and what plant breeding have a major role in our effort to increase the food production. See what I'm saying here, biological principles as applied to animal husbandry and what I'm saying, plant breeding. What I'm saying, plant breeding, my dear. Getting one thing. See again, I'm repeating here, biological principles as applied to animal husbandry and plant breeding which a major role in effort to increase what, my dear, food production. Getting to increase what, food production. So if anybody can ask you that how we increase in food production, then you say what, sir, there is some methods, there are some techniques that we enhance in food as well as what, my dear, yes, enhance in food production, my dear. See several new techniques like embroid transfer technology, tissue culture, I'm saying technique. These all are the technique which is responsible to what, play a pivotal role in the further enhancing of the food production. Let's see, we start from the animal husbandry first. Let's see what NCERT tell us that how animal husbandry is the, you know that this one, animal husbandry is the agriculture practice. What I'm saying, this one is the agriculture practice. Wait for a moment, I'm just marking this one thing because this one is very important here, so that's why. See what I'm saying here, animal husbandry is the agricultural practice of what, breeding and raising livestock. If we want to raise the livestock, if we want to raise the grains, if we want to raise in crops, then we what do we do, my dear? See, we responsible for what, animal husbandry, and animal husbandry is the what, agriculture practices. You know that vital skill for farmers, vital a skill for farmers, and is much science is at what, art. You know that. So vital skill for farmers and is as much science is at what, art. So this one is the art, that how to increase the livestock, how we raise the livestock. So animal husbandry deals with care and breeding of livestock. Which one? Like buffaloes, cows, pigs, horses, cattle, sheep, camels, goat, etc. So these all are very useful to human, isn't it or not? So now see, it includes the poultry farming also, fisheries also, getting or not? So fisheries including the rearing, catching, selling of fish, molluscous shellfish, and crustaceans, prawns and crabs. These all are very, very important to all of us, my dear. So see, since time immemorial, animals like bees, silkworm, prawns, crabs, fishes, birds, pigs, cattle, sheep, and camels, these all have been used by human for products like milk, eggs, meat, wool, silk, honey. These all are the things. And you all know that estimated more than 70% of the world livestock population in India and China. You know, this one is very important data, my dear. So if anybody can ask you what the estimated, What the estimated percentage, my dear? You say here what 70% of the world livestock population is where? In India and China. Hope so. This thing is clear. Now, however, we all know that surprising to note here that the contribution to the world farm produce is only how much percent? 25%. See, what the thing is here. Here the 70% of the world livestock population were in India and China. But in spite of these things, the contribution to the world farm produce is only how much percent? Only 25%. See, this one is the surprising data, na? See, the productivity per unit is what? Very low. The productivity per unit is what? Very low. So hence, in addition, we say what? To conventional practices of animal breeding and care, newer technologies also have to be applied to achieve improvement in quality and productivity, my dear. See what I'm saying here. That if this one is the data, that is the 70% of the world livestock population in India and China, and only the 25% we contribute the world farm produce. This one is the matter of same, my dear. Yes, this one is the matter of same. So what we should have to do? What we should have to be do? We here we have a conventional practices. What the conventional practices, my dear, required here? You know, animal breeding and care, newer technologies. Getting so this practices of animal breeding, conventional practices of animal breeding, and what newer technology. These will helpful for the improvement in quality and productivity, my dear. Let's see these all things that how we perform. Okay, let's see here. The first I'm thinking going to start here that the management of farms and farm animals. You know that here this one is very important to understand here that what the management of farms and the farm animals. You know here a professional approach. What I'm saying here, a professional approach to what we have to be a tradition practices to farm management. What I'm saying, farm management, and this farm management giving much needed boost to our food production. Which one boost to our food production? You know, the farm management, my dear. This farm management gives the much needed boost to our food production. Let us discuss this all things that how will these procedures employed in various animals farm systems will occur, my dear. Okay, let's see. If I'm saying here about the dairy farm management, you know, in a dairying is the what management of animals. Dairying is the what? Dairying. D-A-I-R-Y-A-N-G. I'm saying here the dairying. Dairying is the management of animals. What is saying? Dairying is the what? Management of what? Animals, my dear. For what purpose? For milk and its products for human consumption. You know, in daily life, there are so many products of dairy we use, my dear. Yes or no? Can you list the animals that you would expect in find in a dairy? Various types of animal. What are the different kinds of products that can be made with milk from dairy farms? You know, there are so many various types of products. Now see, here in a dairy farm management, what we deals with the process and systems that increase yield. What I'm saying, increase yield and improve quality of what? Milk, my dear. So this one is the main motive to what? Practices of animal, that is animal husbandry. You know, milk yield is a primarily dependent on the quality of breeds. What I'm saying, milk it is what? Primarily dependent on the quality of breeds in the farms, my dear. If the quality of the breeds is not so equipped, then it's not possible to get what? A high or a rich amount of milk, my dear. So see, and see, selection of good breeds having high yielding potential under the climatic condition. Under the what? Climatic condition of the area. You know, here, the combined with the resistant to disease also, and this is very important. The two thing is very important to understand here that is what? A selection of good breed of what? High yielding potential, and second thing it is what? Combined with the resistant to disease is very important, my dear. So see, for the yield of potential to be realized, what? Realized, the cattle have to be well looked after. We see that whenever a good houseware, we should have adequate water and maintain the disease free. Then we get all the what? High quality of the milk as well as the what? Large amount of quality as well as the quantity of milk also, my dear. So the feeding of cattle, what I'm saying, feeding of cattle should also be carried out how the feeding of the cattle should be carried out, my dear? There are so many ways. That is the way, that is basically, the scientific manner. What I'm saying, scientific manner. In scientific manner, what the way, sir? The way is, that is cleanliness and hygiene. So see, cleanliness and hygiene, both of the cattle and the what handlers are very important, very essential for paramount. Nay, these all are what? Paramount, and you see the importance while milking, my dear. Getting? So see, after importance of while milking, the storage and transport of the milk and its what product, that is also very important. So nowadays we all know that the process have become a what? Mechanized. All the process will be here what? Mechanized. And this will process, whenever goes to mechanize, reduce the chance of direct contact of produce with what? Handler, my dear. This one is the what? Reduce the chance of direct contact. And if this one reduce the chance of direct contact with the handler, it ensure these stringent measures would course required regular inspection with a proper record keeping, my dear. Getting? Getting my point? Again, I'm repeating here. If the mechanized process will be there and reduce chances to direct contact of the produce with the handler, ensuring this stringent measures would course of regular inspection, my dear, with a proper record keeping, my dear. So without making a proper record, we can't be enhance the management. That is basically dairy farm management, my dear. So regular visits by a veterinary doctor would also be mandatory. Getting? So you would be probably find it interesting if you were to be prepare a what? Questionnaire on a diverse aspect of dairy keeping. Diverse aspects. There are diverse aspects of dairy keeping, and follow it with a visit to a dairy farms in your locality and seek that the answer that what the thing is be doing there or what the practices is be doing there, my dear. So this one is very important to know. Now, next thing that is important to understand here, that what? Poultry farm management, my dear. You know the poultry farm management? Yes, sir. Poultry farm management is so simple. It means that domesticated of what? Fowl, that is birds. What I'm saying? Fowl, 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 that is the birds used for what purpose? Used for what? Food or their what? Eggs, my dear. Right? So if anybody can ask you about the poultry farm management, then what you say? In a poultry farm management, it means that domesticated fowl, that is birds, and that is mainly used for foods or for their egg purposes. Right? Now see, the typical including chicken and ducks. If I'm saying here the word typically include chickens and ducks, sometimes turkey also and the geese also. These the word poultry is often used to refer the meat of only these birds. So if I'm here saying the poultry, that means that oftenly we use this poultry term to refer to meat of only these birds. Getting? Getting? But in more general sense, what we know, in more general sense, we know here that refer to the meat of other birds too also. Getting? Getting this one thing. So as in the dairy farming, we all know that the selection of disease-free suitable breeds, my dear. What the thing? Selection of disease-free and suitable breeds, and this proper and safe farm condition also. Proper feed and water, proper feed and water, and hygiene and health care are very important, my dears, for the components of poultry farm management. So see, what are the basic needs to make the dairy farming as a well equipped? Number one, that is what? Selection of disease free. Number two, suitable breeds. Number third, proper and safe farm condition. Number four, proper feed and water. Number fifth, hygiene and health care important. Number six, components of poultry farm management, my dear. So these all are the very basic thing for the poultry farm management. Getting? So this one is all the important thing that you have to be just note in your copy also. Let's see. Let's see here. If I'm saying here about the term here, the animal breeding. What I'm saying? Animal breeding. It means that breeding of animals is an important aspect of animal husbandry. I'm repeating here. Breeding of animals is an important aspect of animal husbandry. So if anybody can ask you that animal breeding, what the aim of animal breeding, then you say here that's increasing the yield of animals and improving the desirable qualities of the produce, my dear. Again, I'm repeating here. I'm saying that if anybody can ask you about the animal breeding, what the aim of animal breeding, then what you say? You say there, so the two thing is very important in animal breeding. Number one, that is increasing the yield of animals. Yes. And second thing, that improving the desirable qualities of the products, my dear. Right? Now, what do you understand by the term breed? If anybody can ask you what do you mean by the term breed, then you say here that a group of animals related by descent. See what I'm saying here, a group of animals related by descent and similar in most characters, like what? Like general appearance, features, size, configuration, etc., are said to belong to a breed, my dear. This one is very important term. If anybody can ask you about this one term, then what you say? What do you mean by term breed? Then you say what? A group of animals related by descent and similar in most characters. So if I'm saying here that similar in most characters, so what the characters are? Like appearance, like features, like size, configuration. These all are the characters, my dear. Getting my point? Yes. So now the two important terms in here is also very important to know. You know what? Number one is inbreeding. Second one is what? Outbreeding. Let's see. If anybody can ask you about this one term inbreeding, then what you say? You say here that when a breeding is between of the same breed. Let's see what I'm saying. When breeding is between animals of the same breed, then it is called what? Inbreeding. While crosses between the different breed, then it is called what? Outbreeding. Getting if I'm saying here when breeding is between animals of the same breed, then it is known as what? Inbreeding. If we crosses between the different breeds, then it is known as what? Outbreeding. Let's check here how this one is important, sir. Let's check here. In breeding, let's see. In breeding refers to, mating of more closely related individuals with the same breed for how much generation? Up to 4 to 6 generation, my dear. So this breeding strategy is follow superior males and superior females, and the same breeds are identified and mated in what? Pairs, my dear. Then what we get? We get the progeny, and that progeny obtained from such a mating are evaluated and superior, male and female also, and among them they are identified for further mating a superior female. In case of cattle also here, just like cows or buffalo that produces more milk for lactation. On the other hand, a superior male is the bull, which gives rise to the superior progeny to compare to those of other males, my dear. So see, what here I'm doing? Here I'm what? Breeding between the animals of the same breed. So if we matting the same breed of the animals, my dear, then is known as what? Inbreeding. Inbreeding. Getting this one thing? Now, let's check here. Try to recollect the homozygous pure line developed by the Mendels. The Mendels is the father of genetics. You know, now when the Mendels choose that how the desired character passes from progeny, from parents, how the characters or the traits transmitted from the parents to progeny, that is the gene is responsible there. And where the gene? The gene is located on a chromosome. So what is chromosome? Chromosome is a condensed part of chromatin fiber which formed during cell division, my dear. Getting? So what? Where the allele is, my dear? So allele is a what? Alternative form of gene. Where it is located? It is located on a homologous pair of chromosomes, my dear. So these all are the things that you have already studied in a principle of inheritance, my dear. Right? So now here, let's see. If I'm saying here that let's try to recollect the homozygous pure line. If I'm saying here the homozygous, the term homozygous, heterozygous. Yes, this one is simple. If I'm saying here the term homozygous, it means that the similar structure of chromosomes. So if I'm saying here the similar structure of chromosomes, then termed as what? Homozygous. But if I'm saying here the what? If I'm saying here that what? The dissimilar pair of the chromosomes known as what? Heterozygous, my dear. So see, if we try to recollect the homozygous pure line of developed Mendels, developed by whom? Developed by a Mendel, is that already we have discussed in chapter 5. And that is in chapter 5, hope so. That is principle of inheritance and variation. That is unit 7, my dear. Am I right? Yes. So similar strategy is used for developing pure lines. In a cattle, that is what used in a peas. In peas, what we see there, that is pure line dwarf plant crosses with pure line tall plant. Then in F1 generation, all the pea plants are tall. Am I right? And after that, when this F1 generation crosses with each other, then their phenotypic ratio is what? That is 3 is to 1. 3 tall, 1 dwarf. And the genotypic ratio is what? 1 is to 2 is to 1. Am I right? This one is called what? Monohybrid cross. While in the dihybrid cross, there is what? Mendel chooses the two contrasting character. One is the shape, second one is the color. When the Mendel crosses with the round yellow seed with the what? Wrinkled green seed, then in F1 generation, all the pea plants are what? Round yellow. Am I right? And after that, when this F1 generation round yellow seed crosses with each other, then it forms what? The phenotypic ratio, that is 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. Getting? Yes. So inbreeding cases, my dear, if I'm saying here that inbreeding cases, so inbreeding increases when the homozygosity, what I'm saying, homozygosity is be there. So inbreeding increases homozygosity. Thus, inbreeding is necessary if we want to evolve a pure line in any animals, my dear. So here, inbreeding expose harmful recessive gene. See, here the some defect is here. Harmful recessive genes that are eliminated by the selection. It also helps in accumulation of superior gene and elimination of less desirable gene. So therefore, this approach where the selection is at each step increase the productivity of inbreed population. Definitely it increase the inbreed of population. However, it also continued inbreeding, especially close inbreeding usually reduce fertility and even productivity also. Let's see, if we continue this one inbreeding process, then their harm is what? Reduce the fertility as well as even the what? Productivity, my dear. See, so this is called inbreeding depression. What we say? Inbreeding depression. So when we say inbreeding depression, whenever the reduced fertility and even the productivity, my dear. Now, whenever this become a problem, then after selected animals of breeding populations should be what? Mated, should be mated and with unrelated superior animals with the same breed. Getting? So this usually helps to restore the fertility. So this one, the process, that is what stored the what? Fertility, my dear. Right?